what is the history of the area, and why is there a little golf course there?
Well, Parsons is a railroad town, and it really began its roots with the MKT Railroad. That's the MKT Railroad. Back in 1926, the railroad started with 150 charter members, the MKT Golf Association, and they built a golf course, only 48 acres, so it's pretty compact. The key point there is we're 95 years old. You know, it stood the test of time originally with MKT employees, but then that expanded to the public. It's always been kind of a semi-private club where the public could join. Of course, you could always pay as you played.
Hi, this is Lisa Tomaso from Mystic, Connecticut, and I play at Stonington Country Club. Golf Smarter, number 824.
After a career in manufacturing, Jeff Perez bought a golf course, then asked, now what?
This is Golf Smarter, sharing stories, tips, and insights from great golf minds to help you lower your score and raise your golf IQ. Here's your host, Fred Green.
Welcome to the Golf Smarter Podcast, Jeff.
Hello, Fred.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Excited to talk to you. Where is Parsons, Kansas?
Parsons, Kansas is in the southeast corner of the state. We're about 30 miles from Oklahoma and 50 miles from Missouri. And as the crow flies between Kansas City and Tulsa, we're right in the middle.
Okay. And is that golf country we're talking about?
Well, I mean, every place is golf country if they've got a golf course. It's not what I would say the resort type golf courses. There's a few around that are really, really nice, but this is a small 9-hole golf course that I like to keep really clean and nice. Greens in great shape, and it is quite entertaining, though, to a golfer.
So what you're saying is that Parsons, Kansas is not necessarily a destination area.
No. We're 95. We have 9,500 people in town here today.
Wow. And so what is the history of the area, and why is there a little golf course there?
Back in, Parsons is a railroad town, and it really began its roots with the MKT Railroad, and that's the MKT Railroad. And so back in 1926, the railroad started with 150 charter members, the MKT Golf Association, and they built a golf course, and it's laid out on it's laid out on probably about 48 acres, not 100, only 48 acres. So it's pretty tight, pretty compact. But the key point there is we're 95 years old, and it's stood the test of time. Originally with MKT employees, but then that expanded to the public. It's always been kind of a semi-private golf. Well, it hasn't always been, for the last, since the middle 80s, it's been kind of a semi-private club where, the public could join, be a member, and then, of course, you could always pay as you play as well. So.
Yeah, sure. I'm not familiar with the MKT line, railroad line.
Missouri, Kansas, Texas are the states involved, and it started. I mean, it comes up from the south part of Texas. In fact, there's a Katy, Texas, that is part of the original line that is just on the outskirts of San Antonio. So, no, I'm wrong with that. I think it's on the outskirts of Houston. So. There is it's a pretty old established route.
Right, right. So that's where the Katy comes from. Is MKT is Katy.
Yep.
I get that. Okay, now that makes sense to me.
And now
Just that part.
Since then, they have sold it to Union Pacific.
Mm-hmm. And has the golf course gone through various ownerships over the years?
Well, no, not really. The railroad turned it over to the association, the golf association, in the 80s, and it ran under, local players, local members, and every year there was a new board created. But about 7 years ago, it just became evident that something had to be done, and so we approached the board about privatizing it, and that's what we ended up doing.
Who's we when you say that?
There was a management team, and me and another partner. We're the ones that we've got our name on the banknote. So we that's why we had to do what we did, just to help fund it.
Oh, I see. So you bought this golf course.
Yep.
And what were you doing before that?
I've spent my whole life as a manufacturing manager. So
wow.
Yeah, I've been in manufacturing my whole life.
For various companies? Or just
No, pretty much the same company. Well, a couple of different companies, but all the same type of industry.
And have you always been a golfer?
Not until I stopped playing softball.
You're really confusing me now.
Well, I started playing. I'm 67 right now.
Okay.
And I started playing golf when I was 30.
Okay.
So, to me, it just seems like I started, but I guess I have been playing longer than most, just because of my age factor. But
right.
But I've probably played 90% of all my golf on this golf course.
Oh, wow. Are there not a lot of golf courses in that area?
Well, I mean, there's a handful of, I'd say there's enough. I mean, they're little 9-hole golf courses, and now there's a few 18-hole golf courses within 30, 40 miles.
Wow.
But they're mostly people just come here to play.
Yeah. And are you able to play, it's a 9-hole course, but you're able to play 18 holes? You have it set up for that you can do, how do you do that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we shake it up a little bit. First 9 around, we play from the blue tees, and then the second time around, we play from the black tees. And really, the big difference in the two is on the first round, number 1 is a par 5. Number 7 is a par 4. And then the second time around, we reciprocate those 2 holes.
Okay. All right. And
number 10 would be 4.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Are you able to play golf 12 months a year there?
If there's not snow or ice on the greens, yep. And people will do that. A lot of the members have, and our business model is this, part of the membership privilege is you can rent a golf shed, and a lot of the members will have their own golf cart. And if they got their own golf cart, they're going to come out and they're going to put covers on it and heaters and that kind of stuff for the winter time. So,
and you don't maintain that. You have the owner of each cart.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
They rent
it's
a
theirs.
shed.
Yeah, it's theirs. All I do is provide storage and electricity.
Now the revenue stream for you.
Yep.
Very good. That's interesting. Do you, and what about your practice facility? I'm trying to wrap my head around this. It's so interesting.
Well, we don't have a driving range.
Okay.
I do have a putting green and I have a chipping green. And then I do have the luxury of having a really nice simulator that people can come in and warm up if they
that's
want
nice.
to. Yeah, it is nice. The driving range historically has always been, people when they're waiting to get on the tee box, they might be out by the putting green and just start hitting golf balls into the railroad yard. But that's kind of dangerous. I've had to stop that because I don't want somebody getting conked in the head with a runaway golf ball. But
it's a good idea. You don't want to do that. All right, let's take a time out. We'll be back right after this. Jeff, I guess the way we found each other, you must have found the podcast because I got an email from you when I said, hey, you want to open the show with the show number? And you said, I'll do that. But your email address jumped out to me at being katygolfclub@gmail.com. And it was like, wait, what's Katy Golf Club? So I reached out to you saying, we need to talk about this.
Right. That's exactly right.
So what do you have intense or is part of your plan on this to help grow the game in the area to get more people involved? Or are you just like hoping people discover you? How do you maintain your business and grow it?
Well, you have to grow it. I mean, status quo was not an option. And
sure.
It didn't take long for me to understand that. When we first started operating it, taking it over, I thought the place would run itself. And man, boy, was I wrong.
Yeah,
of course,
this is not manufacturing.
It is not manufacturing. That is right. And so the first year, I was still working in my normal job, and the other guys, all the other partners, we all had jobs too. And so here we go. We're starting off, and man, revenues just wasn't there to, operate a profitable business. And so we, for the first 6 months or so, we made a couple of assessments to make sure that we could pay the bills. And then everybody started getting a taste of, man, this is not at all what I signed up for. So, but anyway, we grunted through that, and it just took a lot of sweat equity and hard work. But as time went on, some of those guys started dropping off. And but the one thing that became evident during this very difficult first year was we had an aging membership base. There wasn't a lot of kids out playing. The women were starting to lose interest. So that's when I finally wrote down, well, in fact, it didn't happen this year. I wrote out a business plan, put everything in writing, what the goals were. And so that's where we are today. But there's been a lot of redirection, so to speak, to, entice younger people to play, make it more affordable, make the golf course easier to play. And I mean, that's just the way it's got to be to maintain interest.
When did you complete the purchase? When did you first take it over?
7 years ago.
Oh, so it was pre-COVID, but golf was not thriving at that point. It was probably on a downturn as far as the golf industry.
It was on a downturn, and Like I mentioned, I had I had a manufacturing job, and I was that stopped about 6 years ago.
Mm.
And, rather than me try to find another manufacturing job, that's all I knew. I just kind of went all in on this place, and made it my primary focus. And if I know you've probably talked to a lot of golf operators. It just takes a lot of luck and tenacity and grit to fight the daily problems that come up and keep it going.
Yeah.
And so far I've been able to do that. But you can't do it without customers. You have to have customers that enjoy the game. I mean, it's hard enough as it is. So anything that I can do to try to make it more fun, then that's what we're all about here.
Right. I'm fascinated to know who sold whom on the idea of buying this golf course, and what was the pitch? I mean, how did you who convinced you, or how did you convince the people in your group? And what did you say?
I have an answer for that, because I remember it like it happened yesterday.
Wow.
I wasn't an active board member with the golf course.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was all a mystery to me. I just wanted to play golf and drink beer. But when I first started getting into the board role, which I did, and that was even hard to get board members, but I understood at that time that it was we were really stifled with revenue. Money was tight. There was never enough of it. And it just took a lot of work. And even my first year as a board member, and it's like any board, it's like two guys or one guy ends up doing all the work after all the discussions in a meeting are made. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, it seemed like I felt like I was doing all the work. And I told one of my buddies, I says, I've got a lot of expertise that I could associate this to, but I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. This is crazy. And so we kind of slept on it a little bit, and then went back to one of my partners and said, look, I could do this, but I want to own it. I don't want to do it I want to do it for me. And I mean, it's for everybody, but it just put a little bit more skin in the game if you're an owner and you're doing this type of stuff. And so we did that, and we approached the board member. We charted out a plan, approached all of the board members. In our bylaws, there was a way to do what we did, and we laid it all out, and almost unanimously got the support and buy-in from all of the members to move ahead with it. And it's been like that ever since. So the members got a good deal. I got a good deal. The other board, they got a good deal. So
now you're a guy who owns a golf course.
Yeah, I'm a guy that owns a golf course. That's right.
In a place that you never thought you'd find yourself.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of a crazy twist of things, but it came looking for me too. I didn't go out looking for it. It just happened, and ran with it.
So I asked you who sold whom on this, and what was the pitch. I'm curious about your spouse.
Oh boy!
Tell me about that sales job.
That was a tough one.
I bet. I mean, it's like I'm leaving manufacturing that I've been doing my whole life, and I'm going to buy a golf course. It's like,
Well,
I'm going to build a baseball field in my backyard.
well, it was very much, yeah. There's a lot of similarity to that, but the other part of it is we've spent had a lot of discussions on why am I always out the golf course anyway. This was way before, so it was almost pouring salt on a very deep wound. But I mean, my wife's been really good about support, and it doesn't come without digs, believe me. But
I bet you're a lucky man that you're not hearing the toe tapping in the background, going, "When are you going to get this out of your system?"
well, we've already passed that point of no return there. This is no, it's it's something that we wouldn't decided to do.
Yeah,
obviously, but like I said, it came looking for us, or came looking for me, and I jumped at it.
I can hear her in the background. Don't say it came looking for us. All right, we're gonna take a timeout so you can lock yourself in the bathroom.
No, it's all good.
All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll be right back. How busy is your pro shop? You sell shirts, hats, towels, the whole thing?
I sell balls and gloves and hats, and that's about it.
Well, we got to send the Golf Smarter audience to, they'll like, oh, I need to have a Katie Golf Club T-shirt or a golf shirt because my friend's like, oh, where's Katie? And you'll like have this great story that you could share about. Oh, it's this guy who bought a golf course in Kansas.
Well, I mean, weirder things have happened, and they normally happen out on the golf course, actually. But yeah, I mean, that's another thing that was an unknown, that didn't fit any of my knowledge of how merchandise worked and what the demand is, and golly, golf clubs change, and I mean, they change every year, and with every change, there is a price point that's just difficult to keep up with. So I don't stock golf clubs because of that. I don't stock shoes because of that. It's just the inventory would be too much. Mm-hmm. It'd be a guess on what to even buy,
And is there a local golf shop around that you can just send people to?
No. If somebody wants some shoes or something, I'll order it for them. But
okay.
Or I'll help. I'll help them.
But you're not doing fittings with people. You're
no.
Yeah, send them to Stix.golf, STIX.
Well, I've been working, and I don't know how you want to. I've been working with them. I just bought me a set of Stix clubs, actually. A couple of weeks ago.
Have you gotten them yet?
Yep.
And what do you think?
I think it's the real deal, actually.
Isn't it amazing for that price point to have a set of clubs that are legit? Yes,
it's very nice. And I don't know if just my excitement to put a good swing on it is what the deal is, but I have seen a difference in my iron play.
Interesting. And hopefully you heard about him here on Golf Smarter.
I did.
How did you find the podcast? I mean, are you a podcast listener regularly, or what's?
No, I have a routine where I've got some quiet time in the morning, and then your podcast is probably the one that I've listened to the most.
Really?
And
thank you.
It's just it's just a lot of random points that are very interesting. That
like this episode.
Yeah, it's very random, I'm sure.
I love the idea of a guy who's like, I'm going to buy a golf course.
Well, it's got to be right,
Yeah, of course.
It's just not any golf course. This place is, like I said, it's 95 years old. that's a big deal, and it's a really nice golf course. And so I've
Tell me about
I
your
worked-
favorite hole.
My favorite hole is probably number 8. But it's got a little bitty green to it, and there's a dog leg to the left, and I can only hit it. Well, when I'm playing the back tees, I can only hit it within 200 yards of the green, and then it's almost impossible to get on the green because it's so small. It's one of the original greens that goes back to the 30s. They had sand greens in the beginning, and I believe it was sometime in the 30s they turned them into grass greens. So, but this is the original one. It's pretty small. I mean, it's a postage stamp, but that one for some reason is my favorite one. I think it's just because of the history of it.
And what are the big surprises that you've had in doing this endeavor that you're like, oh wait, I had no idea that was going to be necessary to know that owning a golf course?
Well, we're really weak on our mechanical skills. My equipment's really pretty old.
Mechanical meaning maintenance of the course?
Yeah. Maintenance on the mowers and tractors, and I mean they all take. I mean they're machines. They're gonna break down.
Right.
And so I've been pretty resourceful about how I deal with that. I can't do it, but I do come across people that do, and I'm grateful for that. It's worked out pretty well. We've done a better job about tightening up our maintenance skills on just routine maintenance to make sure that there's no breakdowns, but it still happens. And then the other thing that has really been a burden this past year was our irrigation. We water the fairways. Obviously we have to water our greens, but when I got a line break, you gotta muscle through it, dig a hole and get down to it and fix it. And that was something that I wasn't really thinking about. You think of all the pleasantries that you get when you're playing golf. They're not the same as when you're trying to grow or nurture a golf course.
Yeah. So in the 7 years that you've been in possession of this course,
mm-hmm.
and even before that, you were at the course a lot because you were playing.
Right.
How much do you get to play now?
I play, I usually only get about 2 9-hole rounds a day.
Oh, but you play every day still.
I mean, not a day. I mean, I'm sorry, a week.
Oh, okay.
But I do, I find a great deal of satisfaction and fun by, if it's height of the summertime and, it's going to stay dark until, it's going to stay light until 9:15 here. And so if I've got an opportunity to go out on the golf course and just play 2 or 3 holes or play an hour's work, it's almost spiritual that you're out there on the course when the critters are starting to come out and the sun's going down, and it's really nice.
Yeah, I bet. Sounds beautiful.
Same way in the morning. If we're getting out on the golf course at 6 o'clock in the morning, and the sprinklers are running, and again the critters are out, dews on the greens, dews on the fairways. It's best described as, again, it's just a spiritual moment.
You haven't had a chance, if you listen regularly, and again, thank you for listening, but you haven't had a chance yet to hear the conversation that I had with Paul Cunningham of Hartford Golf Club out of the UK, out of England.
I did listen to that.
Oh, it's already been published. Ah, right. And
To it last week.
And my head can't remember. It's holiday time. Well, so he does a lot of interesting things to bring in new people to the game and has a lot of interesting ideas. What about you? Are you trying to bring in people like his things about kings and queens and having?
Well, I found that one interesting. That,
oh yeah,
that kind of a scramble, and I tried to fit it into my audience, but the only way that I know I could get guys with their wives out here is if, well, I don't know what it would take them to get out here, but the lady golfers,
beer will do it.
Yeah, the lady golfers, they don't want to just putt; they want to play the game. So.
No, well, the whole thing with him, with kings and queens, was it's a player with a non-player.
Yeah.
To bring someone out. So, I mean, even if the wife plays and the guy doesn't, you can do it that way. But I love that idea.
I'm probably going to try to borrow that idea.
Sure.
Because, I'll be starting my year of events here in the next month, certainly. But,
I can put you in touch with them.
Yeah, I liked the way that sounded. And it does sound fun, But
and is the area where you're in and the people who come out there, are they really strict about have to wear proper clothing, or if you were to break those rules, like, yeah, don't worry about it, right?
No, that's never an issue here.
Yeah, okay.
And remember this was a railroad golf course, so it's had some pretty rugged clientele out here, I'm sure. Years
in the Wild West.
That's never a showstopper there. You still have to behave and, of course, exercise good golf etiquette, and pace of play is important. And but the aesthetics of it's not anything goes, but a lot goes.
Okay. Well, it's so fascinating to hear your story and to meet somebody who's fulfilled a dream like this that they never even knew they had.
Well, that's a pretty good summary of it. Yeah, I didn't know I had it, but and it's kind of weird how things happen, but I don't regret anything about it.
That's awesome.
It's just been a good. It's been a good life. And, I saw a lady at the post office this morning and used to work with her in manufacturing. She goes, "Well, hello, Jeffrey." And I greeted her and she goes, "How's the golf course doing?" I said, "Well, today is going to be a pretty good day, I'm sure." And she goes, "Oh, I bet you don't miss that stress." And that was the validation that I'm in a good place personally. So I don't miss that stress. Now it's a different stress, but this is a fun stress.
Yeah, there you go. There's a different stress. I can't believe that there's no stress.
There is.
There is. Absolutely. Absolutely. When you take over your own business and you're running it, there's new stresses that are going to be introduced to the whole life.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, best of luck. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for listening, and have a very happy holiday.
Thanks a lot, man.
This week on Golf Smarter Mulligan's episode 140 features a conversation with Ron Frankel of the Frankel Golf Academy at frankelgolf.com. Ron, along with his brother, are both golf instructors who to this day claim that they have the only school that teaches the methods of legendary golf coach Ernest Jones. Jones was America's #1 teacher for 36 years and is in the World Golf Hall of Fame. In 1988, Golf Magazine said that he was the top teacher of all time. On their website, it quotes Gary Player as saying, "For every fundamental in golf, I'll show you a superstar who doesn't do it." Now, they teach based on the law of motion, so they say it always works. Here's a taste of our conversation.
Everybody thinks you need to be powerful to strike the ball. Everybody's lifting weights. Worst thing you can do, because what you want to do is create a swing that has freedom. And if you have a swinging motion, you get maximum club head speed. So that's what Ernest taught. And throughout the years, he taught this way. He only taught one thing. And everybody said he's repetitious and whatnot. But guess what? It worked. He had more lessons than anybody else. He used to give 3,000 lessons in his studio every year. Wow. Now, that's incredible when you think about it. He was just booked up from morning to night. And he loved teaching people because of the same reason I love teaching people. I'm helping them play better golf and easier golf.
That's episode 140, featuring Ron Frankel on Golf Smarter Mulligans, being released this Friday. The Golf Smarter Mulligans podcasts are earlier episodes of Golf Smarter that are just no longer available on any podcast app, but they still, like this, offer relevant information to all golfers today. We're now providing you with 2 episodes of Golf Smarter each week. Please write a review, subscribe, and follow both of our golf podcasts. Tell your friends about all the shows on the Smarter Podcast Network so that you can download or stream the brand new episode when it becomes available on your favorite listening device. Now, I'm grateful to Lisa Tomasco for today's episode intro. Lisa is now eligible to win a box of balls with the Golf Smarter logo, and you could be too. I'd really like to have you introduce a new episode in 2022, so let me hear from you. Please click on the Hey Fred button at golfsmarter.com and let me know you'd like to intro our next episode. I'll assign you an episode number, then you call our toll-free Golf Smarter listener line to record your show open. And for every 10 golfers who participate, we'll have a drawing for the exclusive Golf Smarter branded golf balls. Your chances of winning are excellent since there are only 10 names in each drawing. So again, click on the Hey Fred button at golfsmarter.com and you'll be eligible to win. And now let's get a taste of what happened last week on All the F Words with Gabby Moskowitz and Joanne Green. All the F Words features 2 writer friends who are 30 years apart in age, talking about what they give an F about. Each Friday, they pick a word that begins with the letter F and offer their unique perspectives from a millennial and a boomer. Now listen, if you're going to be at any holiday parties this coming week, or dinner parties, or just being with people, and the topic of what podcasts are you listening to these days, if you got a mixed crowd of people, I have 2 shows to recommend: Golf Smarter and All the F Words. And All the F Words has been getting great feedback since we launched just a few weeks ago. Actually, this week's topic is feedback.
Gabby, when I was a kid, they would always say to me, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Didn't work, but that's what they told me.
Well, when I was a kid, my grandfather used to tell me, if you're kicked by an ass, consider the source. So,
Oh, I like that one. This week's topic on All the F Words is feedback. How to give it. That's the tough one. How to receive it. Also tough.
And you can listen to All the F Words anywhere you get your podcasts. And you can follow us at All the F Words Pod on social media.